What is going on, you guys? It is your man MorganMan. Thank you so much for tuning back in to the MorganMan Sports Podcast. You can find me here on Soundcloud.com, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Guys, we are recapping the Paris Legion Home Series weekend event with full details of what happened. So without any further delay, let's go and get straight into today's action. Alright guys, so to kick off the show right here, we are talking about the Paris Legion Home Series weekend event that was June 19th through the 21st. And let me tell you, it was honestly a home series that nobody will never forget about. This will honestly be talked about for many more Call of Duty League seasons further down the road. So to kick off, you have your marquee matchup with the Paris Legion taking on the Florida Mutineers on Friday. And the Florida Mutineers did 3-0 the Paris Legion. And of course, the Paris Legion, is playing in Paris pretty much. And internet, everything is so different whenever it comes to like different regions pretty much. And Florida just totally decimated the Paris Legion. Next up, you have the Dallas Empire taking on the London Royal Ravens, where the Empire did have a 3-2 victory over the Ravens. Next up, you have the New York Subliners defeating the OGLA squad 3-1. And guys, oh my goodness, that was a very good one. New York Subliners definitely on the rise of being one of the great teams like the Florida Mutineers. For your final matchup on Friday, June 19th, you have the Atlanta FaZe going to yet another Game 5 and defeating the Toronto Ultra. So, already, I could just go ahead and tell you, Atlanta FaZe is still having the same problems, but now they're winning map 1s in that hard point. But now they're dropping S&Ds and dominations. So, what's to say with Atlanta FaZe now? So going into Saturday to kick off the day, you have the Atlanta FaZe yet again with another Game 5, 3-2, defeating the New York Subliners. And honestly, guys, I thought the New York Subliners were going to get us in Search and Destroy. But luckily, with Atlanta FaZe's Simp getting the assassination on Attach, if I'm not mistaken, definitely secured our spot to go even further into Championship Sunday. Florida Mutineers did take on the Dallas Empire, and the Florida Mutineers looking very dominant by defeating the Empire 3-1. Toronto Ultra 3-0'd the OGLA squad, eliminating them from contention of making it to Championship Sunday. Ravens 3-1 the Paris Legion, eliminating them. Subliners defeated the Toronto Ultra, eliminating them from contention. And then now you got the London Royal Ravens taking on the Dallas Empire yet again, where the Dallas Empire has now 3-0'd the Ravens compared to 3-2 in their previous matchup on Friday. Next up for Sunday, you have the Subliners taking on the Florida Mutineers, where the Subliners were up 2-0 over the Mutineers. And you're thinking, oh, wow, Awakening, what are you going to do, man? Well, he came up clutch and had a huge, and whenever I say huge, I mean huge game against the New York Subliners. And Florida Mutineers did reverse sweep the Subliners, eliminating them on Championship Sunday. Atlanta FaZe taking on the Dallas Empire, where the Atlanta FaZe is yet to meet with another Game 5. And guys, I'll tell you, how long is Atlanta FaZe going to win these Game 5s? Because now they are really 8-1 in Game 5s. And that seems like they're the most comfortable. So why would you be the more comfortable team in a Game 5 when your back's really against the wall? It just beats me. And then for CDL game day on Championship Sunday, you have the Atlanta FaZe getting brutalized by the Florida Mutineers. 3-0 sweep for the Mutineers. They are 2 times in a row home series champions, and that makes him 3-time champions, to be as a matter of fact. And guys, I tell you, Awakening, he is just godlike, man. For being the rookie, he is a 2-time home series champion. That's very impressive. That will go a very long ways for this young man right here in the CDL. And honestly, I mean, the other matches could be, okay, well, FaZe really had a strong game right there. I mean, I understand why they lost on certain points, but Domination, my man, was the difference maker of what was going to be talked about and what was not going to be talked about for many more years to come. I'm pulling up the match details right now because I want to get this just really accurate for you guys. So for the hard point on Gunrunner, you had the Atlanta FaZe dropping to Mutineers 250 to 190. Atlanta had an opportunity to win in S&D on Piccadilly, but the Florida Mutineers did win 6-5. So now we move on over to Game 3. This is game point right here for the Florida Mutineers. And for you, the people who don't watch the Call of Duty League but listen to me talk about it, the Florida Mutineers won Domination on Hackney Yard 235 to 70. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a hard point number. That is domination. Florida Mutineers set records on Hackney Yard domination against the Atlanta FaZe, the unstoppable Atlanta FaZe, pretty much. And Awakening just had his best game. I think he had like a 10 kill streak going on at that time. And Frosty, I mean, oh my gosh, the whole squad was on point. And then for Atlanta FaZe, you had Celium, Abeezy, Simp, Major Maniac. I mean, everybody going like almost like double negative in their KD ratio. And I think it was a Priest actually who done like the frowny face heart, and everybody's like, yeah, man, we feel you. But guys, I just don't know what to say about the Atlanta FaZe now. They're barely even putting in any work, making it to the grand finals for 2 times in a row now, and then just all of a sudden just dropping in the finals. Like, what is going on? They're doing very little work to make it to the grand finals. You would think now, hey, well, we're here in the finals, and the other team is too, and they obviously put in a lot of work, so honestly, we should too. So right now, I want to kind of digest a little bit of what I think personally the Atlanta FaZe needs to do in order to secure their next home series, which will be the New York Subliner home series weekend event, which will be in 2 more weeks. Number one, look at the New York Subliners tape. Just look at their tape and say to myself, what are they doing right at this moment that we're not doing? You know, that should be the question you should be asking yourself. If I'm Atlanta FaZe, looking at that Subliners tape, and right down those, you know, James Crowder, man, you know, I believe in you. You've won already 2 championships, or well, home series technically, with the Atlanta FaZe, and there's no doubt that you can come up with a game plan. Second of all, they've worked on the rotation on hardpoint, but now it's just these gunfights that are really killing the Atlanta FaZe. Because I don't know what it is. Are they moving really just too fast? Which I know in the CDO, you have to really just get and go. You just cannot treat it as like your average pub stomping competition in Modern Warfare. I mean, you actually have to move fast so that way you just don't get killed behind the back, because players are constantly spawning in and moving as fast as they can. Number 2 is working on the search and destroy. Don't be too, don't get too, cocky pretty much in that form of sense. Yes, you are the best search and destroy team in the league with well, probably now it's probably like a 70% win percentage of search and destroy. But don't get too cocky about it. Play your game like you would as it was the start of the season. Domination. You had everything going good. You actually tried it on the New York Subliners back 2 or 3 home series ago. And let's see here, Paris, Minnesota. I think it was I think it was the Florida Mutineers home series where you tried it on the Subliners, if I'm not mistaken, where you captured A and C and made them spawn at B, and I believe that was Gunrunner as well. Do more stuff like that, focus on those 2 flags. I would post this is a 5v5 right here. So heck, I would post a 3-2 defense, pretty much. I'd post 3 at A and then post 2 at C. I would do that. Let the Gorilla, Subliners, Mutineers, whoever, have that B flag and then make them spawn right at that B flag while you're covering most of all the points. Or basically lines of sight. Now, as far as players go, Simp really just, he's doing what he's doing what he can do pretty much. But I feel like he's not at that MVP level that we got back in E United on Black Ops 4. So if he could kind of return to that and, play the objective while doing that, I mean, again, they are all playing the objective. But if Simp can really just do one little thing more, I feel like Atlanta FaZe can win a lot more of these gunfights and maps. Major Maniac, he's the glue that holds that team together. I mean, he's godlike in search and destroy. He can win you search and destroys. Even with the pieces that are falling apart, he's gonna make something do of those remaining pieces. Priesta, I mean, just gotta work on them gunfights. You're fine on the objective, but gunfights really need to be the thing you need to be working on. Personally, what I think from what I've seen of your POV. But guys, again, congratulations to the Florida Mutineers, back-to-back home series champions. Now, you won't be in the New York Subliners home series weekend event, so it is very well deserved. And then after that, for the entire month of July, we are getting CDL action back to back, 3 weekends in a row. So it's going to be a fun one, but I will not cover that one right now. I'll wait till next Tuesday to cover the NYSL home series weekend event. But guys, that is all the time I have for today's episode of eTuesday on the MorganMan Sports Podcast. I sure hope you did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to like button here on Soundcloud.com or wherever you get your podcast from. Till then, I, Cole Morgan, will catch you all later. Peace.